and welcome back to another episode of the Outer Rim Rambling with myself, the Outlaw Adam Neeson, joined as always by the Jedi Knight Danny Brown. Danny, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm just, you know what? I had just a lovely big dinner
Mm,
after a lovely walk on the beach, and I'm ready to have some lovely chats
mm.
and just finish off a lovely day. What about you? How are you?
I'm good, mate. I had for my dinner a packet of skips. Now, let's get into this with the guest. I know he's
Mm-hmm.
been to the UK, doesn't know, I don't know if you know what skips are, but
I do. Yeah, actually, I do know. But I mean, I went to school for a little bit in Wales, and then but I was right there, so I kind of got to travel all around the UK and then Ireland and Scotland too. So it was great.
well, hold on,
Yes.
sir. Let me introduce it,
Skip.
and then
Yeah, no,
we'll
he's
we'll
already
get into
in
the
being like, I've been in the UK. I know what a skip is.
we'll get into the skip business. Joining us today is a gentleman of the big screen and small, and also video games. You might know him from Civil War, Mulan on the small screen, Stargirl, who played Dragon King, fantastic role, and of course Ahsoka. And on the video game side, he was in the Ghost of Yotei and Call of Duty. Joining us today is Senator Xiono, Mr. Nelson Lee himself. Nelson,
Gentlemen,
what's your
happy.
thoughts on prawn cocktail crisps?
What's my thoughts? I mean, they're delicious. I miss it here. I mean, we have such boring flavors here.
Because did you grow up in Canada?
I grew up, yeah, so I was born in Taiwan, but I grew up mostly in East Coast Canada, so
Mm,
like way east. And yeah, it's even that we do have better flavor stuff in Canada, but yeah,
Mhm.
it's not the
mm.
same.
Because
Yeah.
the ketchup flavored
I
chip.
love ketchup. Like I
Oh,
know I fight with people about this. They're like, ketchup. It's like, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. It's fine.
yeah.
We'll move past, but ketchup is delicious.
Yeah.
Ketchup, dill pickle, these are all great flavors.
Mm.
Mm,
Pickles really had a real like emergence in food
Yeah,
culture at the moment. Like even
I know.
KFC here having the pickle
Really.
burger and pickle juice and
That's
stuff has
funny.
been
Yeah, yeah,
massive.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's funny that everyone now is like, "Oh, we love pickles." Like, yeah, okay. Where were you like a few decades ago when you're laughing at us for dill pickle? Now
Yeah.
everyone loves pickle.
Oh, they're going buck mad for the pickle. But you
Yeah.
mentioned so you were in school in Wales for a bit and you kind of traveled around the UK for a while. And when we messaged you to come on the show, you'd said you'd been in Belfast. How did
I
you find
had.
yourself over in Belfast?
It was amazing. I mean, I went through from like Limerick, from Cork, I went all around, and Belfast was one of my favorites. Just I had some friends that were living in Cork, and then they just kind of took me all around. But it was lovely. I loved Ireland so much.
Did you try some Tato while you were here? Did you have some Tato crisps?
I did. I
Hell
did.
yeah.
Of course.
What flavors? What flavor did you get?
I can't remember to be honest. It was like that was like the 90s. That's how long ago it was
Mm,
out there.
yeah.
Just insane.
I wonder, did you have, see, this is the big debate here is whether you had northern or southern Tato. So did you have your Tato in Belfast or when you were down in Cork or Limerick?
I think I was in Limerick when I did it
Nah, so you'd
actually.
have had the free
Yeah.
Tato then. You had
Yeah.
the southern Tato. It's
Yeah,
nothing
I think
compared to our northern stuff, you
I
know?
bet. I got to go back and remedy that. Yeah,
That's
I'd
it.
love to
Come
go
over.
back. It's one of those things I always thought I'd go back by now, but it's just time flies and you just don't.
Yeah, you'll have to come over for a con or something and,
Would
that'd be
love
great.
that. Would
Yeah,
love
yeah.
yeah, especially Northern Ireland, because it's obviously you being there in the 90s, it's a completely different
Mhm. Very
that.
place.
different.
Yeah,
We don't have wars anymore.
Yeah.
I bet.
No more
Yeah.
bombings, which is nice,
Yeah. I remember that was yeah. It was still kind of a thing.
Just imagine me and little Danny just with, army trucks just eating our little prawn cocktail crisps.
Watching them go by, just feel like.
That's a sweet and sad memory all at once.
So, talking about just being wee, have you been a Star Wars fan from you were wee and eating prawn cocktail crisps?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's funny because when I moved from Taiwan, I was like 5, and first one already come out. I'm older, but we didn't have television or anything, and so it was a while before my brother and I saw Jedi in theaters, and and it was. But then we went back, and at one point, my family started renting like big Beta Max machines to watch videos, and that was when I went and watched all of them with my brother. And but yeah, since I was like about 5 or 6, I just loved it, and especially Luke and Yoda. Yoda was like my first. And then the first grade, I was dressed as Yoda for like Halloween, and I thought for sure there was a contest to see who could last to the end, and I got chosen. I thought I had the best costume, but I was also the only Asian kid in the school. And so my eyes behind the Yoda mask were pretty easy to spot. And the teacher was like, Nelson, yes.
And was it homemade Yoda costume? Had you made
No,
everything
look, it was
yourself?
like from it was from a store that my Kmart store that
Mm,
my mom I got begged her to, and she did not want to get it, but I begged her enough and she got me my beautiful Yoda mask.
fantastic. And what
Yeah.
about then? So you go from that Return of the Jedi, loving Yoda, loving Luke. Are you partaking of the prequels and then the sequels and everything else that came
You know,
after?
I'm always going to be an original trilogy guy. The pre it's funny, because then you had the remasters and I remember kind of loving those, but then not liking some things. And then of course the prequels came, you're like, and now after so long, you're like, hey, they're not bad. And I think the same will happen with the sequels, but I understand that they're all generational, and I don't want to ever poo-poo on anyone else's Star Wars because that would be like, when people watch the original trilogy, sometimes they're like, "This sucks." Like, you suck. But it's like everyone's got their memories, and I get it. And yeah, there's some great things in all of them, and they still have the Force and the lightsabers, and so it's all cool.
Of course. And just looking behind you, you mentioned there, sort of looking Yoda being your favorite. Behind you, you've got it looks to be, is it two Lukes and two
Yeah, it's
Kenobis
like
or
these are all the Jedi. So this is the Luke cave hero, and this is like all kind of vintage. Well, obviously they found vintage parts, but
yeah.
yeah, I love this is one of my favorites just because I think it was the first one I really saw,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just yeah, I love it.
And what about would you say is Luke your favorite character, your kind of go-to guy or
I mean, when I was a kid, yeah, I have to. He was always my guy, as whiny as he was. He was, you know,
Mhm.
of course, the chosen one is Anakin, but you want to believe it's Luke, but he
Yeah,
still
yeah,
does pretty good. Yeah.
of course.
Well, some of us believe that the chosen one is Leia.
Yes,
Oh.
yes, yes.
Mhm.
There's that argument. There's that argument. Until she married Poppins in space, and you're like, hmm?
The Last Jedi has a lot of problems and it has a lot of amazing bits in it as well. I'm a
It does.
Last Jedi
Yeah.
defender, but the the night watching like the premiere of Last Jedi and seeing her fly through space, I was like, hmm.
Yeah, I know. You're like it's fine. It's fine. We can move past this.
I think for me it's the fact that that's when Akbar goes. I was like, oh no,
Yeah,
Akbar.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's true.
He's just a casualty of war. Nelson, how do you end up? I obviously come from Taiwan, moved to Canada. How do you end up becoming an actor? Was it
Oh,
a
yeah.
love at a young age?
It was a really long and winding road to it. I did some acting in school like everyone did, like in school plays and stuff, and I always loved it, but I never, never, never had the courage to say I was going to try to do it. I went to university in Toronto for like business and I hated it, doing like, oh my God, it's like doing accounting and stuff. I wanted to blow my brains out. And then so I just changed my degree to philosophy because I was like, well, if I'm going to go to school, I at least want to do something I enjoy. So I did that. Very useful degree. Yeah, and then I was still doing acting and still didn't have the balls to pursue it. And it was really until I was living overseas, I was, in the UK, and then I lived for a while in Europe and Prague and stuff. And I was kind of like, that lame, like finding myself. But I really was trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. And I kept going back to like how much I enjoyed performing live and theater and stuff like that. And so finally had some courage to try to apply for school in New York, got in and kind of, yeah, just went from there. And the whole way it was still all just like completely improvised. I was just like, I don't know. And a lot of times I was like, I can't do this. It was hard. It's scary to do
Mhm.
this. It's still scary. But it's
Yeah.
it's a great privilege.
And when you're sort of, just starting out, obviously you were in the HBO show Oz, and
Yeah.
then like the television version of Blade.
Yes.
How do you have like, is there tonal whiplash from working on those type of shows, or is it just it's a job, I go do the job?
I think if nothing else, it's just so exciting to jump from different genres to go from like being a criminal in prison, which was actually my one of my first jobs, and it was crazy like baptism by fire to be with all those amazing actors and a crazy thing watching like terrible things happen to people. I was like, oh my God, what is this show? but and then you go to do something like Blade, which is like was a dream come true for me, to do one of the first superhero t television shows well before its time. It's too bad, but yeah, it was still an honor to do it, and yeah, killing vampires. So you don't really get that whiplash. It's more like you just go from like childish excitement from one to the other. You're like, oh my God, I'm murdering people. Like, oh my God, I'm killing vampires. It's just you gotta kind of pinch yourself sometimes. I think that's the only thing to be like, oh my God, okay, stop being a fan, do the work.
Mhm.
Was that the same then going into Star Wars, going into
Oh my
Ahsoka?
God, yeah, times like a million because it was just it's it's really hard to explain. Like you get on set and you're just like seeing like little droids and you're seeing all the stuff and you're like, ah. And then, for me to be lucky enough to get to work with Anthony Daniels, I mean, the C3PO, like that first day, and he's the loveliest man. Like came up, doesn't have to, like just introduces himself. Is so nice. He says, "Oh, it's not as impressive in person, and it's just plastic." And and everyone's like, "Did you work with him? Was it's CG?" Is like, no, it was him. He was in the suit. He was absolutely there in the suit like a professional, just doing everything. And the first take, he just like clacks on. And any of your viewers or you guys know, I'm not the nicest guy in the show. And of course, the first take I see him, I was like, and I had to cut because I was like, I'm sorry, I blew the take. 'Cause I was like, I am so sorry. I'm just the little kid in me is like, it's 3PO. But
And
yeah, that's such so mind blowing to be able to be a part of it.
obviously, you got to work with Genevieve as well. Did you get to?
Yes.
Did you
Uh,
say Andor's really good?
yeah. I mean, he kind of does okay in that, right?
Yeah,
It's
she's
like
pretty good.
Andor is just really blew my mind too. As far like it stretches what you think. You think that Star Wars can only be this, and then they show you, oh my God, it can also be this amazing kind of political thriller.
Mhm.
It was just and so well acted, so well written, and just still in the Star Wars universe, but completely different. I love it, because the possibilities are endless always, and I just love it being pushed this way. And the performances that speech she gives, it's just. Oof, like
Yeah.
it's amazing. And that dance party, like everything. There's so many great parts about it. Yes, it's yeah, so good. She's amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah. To have something like Andor to kind of link it to something else you've done, Civil War, Civil War is very much kind of taking this crystal ball and being like, here, this could happen if we continue on the trajectory that we're going on in society.
Yeah,
And to kind of have that there where it's very much just like putting it in your face, but then something like Andor, who's taking sort of a similar message, but putting it
very much.
within the Star Wars universe,
Yes.
especially with the Gorman Massacre stuff. How does it kind of feel seeing those kind of parallels from something that you are directly in with? By the way, that scene with you and Jesse Plemons and Civil War is incredible. I was on a flight home watching it and was just like, this is
Yeah.
tense. I should not be watching this on a plane
Yeah.
because it
Yeah.
was
No one
riling
should.
me up. But it's such a good scene. But seeing something
Thank
like
you.
that you're in, and then seeing something like Andor where you're kind of getting these same messages to society, but just in very different formats, how does that sort of feel, as you say, to have something so impactful?
Yeah, no, it's frightening sometimes to be a part of something and to witness it become quite prescient and like it's especially right now the climate in the United States, as we all know, is tenuous to say the least. And yeah, the when you think about Civil War, and it was written by Brett Alex Garland, and he wrote it years before anything to do with the current administration. He had written it as kind of an ode to war reporters, kind of like as if, for a long time we've watched Americans send war reporters to different parts of the world to cover wars. What would happen if there was a war in America and the world sent their reporters here? And that was really his idea, and it's happened to line up with a lot of things that have oddly become less crazy than what the film is. And yeah, it's an interesting thing because you don't realize in the moment that you have any kind of stewardship over like, oh, we're telling the future, or we're not, and we're definitely not thinking that we're making commentary on anything. You're
Mhm.
kind of just taking a snippet of what could be. And when it becomes kind of close to reality, it's scary. It's
Mhm.
scary. And also, if anything, it kind of makes you go, yeah, maybe we should be careful because this could happen or
Yeah.
this could happen. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's tough.
Do you know that scene in Watchmen when
Yes.
Dr. Manhattan is on Mars and it's
Yeah.
sort of like time repeats itself?
Yeah.
I just had an image of me and Danny on the streets of Belfast eating our crisps. I didn't feel like the year's 2026. Nelson is on the street of America eating his crisps.
Yes.
As police fans go.
I love that.
Nelson, I'd love to see an Andor sort of take on the New Republic.
Yeah.
And with your character, it's sort of, like that committee and how the New Republic builds and then quickly descends, obviously with the First Order. Obviously, you can't say exclusively, but has there ever been any word of your character returning to any sort of thing?
It's always hopeful because the great thing about Star Wars is that anything is possible. Hell, the Force can stop you from dying now. So suck it, Anakin. No, but it's a story about the Senate and the first. I mean, the New Republic would be amazing because you saw the pieces of that in Andor, and it's so intriguing and there's plenty of stuff to write about. So yeah, oh my God, if I ever got the call, I'd be stoked to come back. But yeah, just I in Dave we trust. It's could not be in better hands than Dave Filoni. So I'm very excited for what's going to come.
How is Dave sort of to work with? Because obviously he did a lot of Ahsoka. Is
Yeah.
he there on the day, very much hands on?
Oh yeah, he is so hands-on and the nicest. Everyone always says it because it's their boss or whatever, but he is genuinely the nicest, most knowledgeable, like encyclopedia of Star. Like it's first day, and I'm not a big part. I'm small, and he just walks up, introduces himself, and just starts talking to me about everything about Xiono and the past and New Republic and Kaz and everything, and just for about 40 minutes, just like talking, and he doesn't have to do that, and it's great because you're just like, oh, okay, yeah, 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 and it's so exciting to talk and tap into his brain because he also involves you so much in the process of like, what do you think about this and this? It's great. It's not just like do this because I am, I am Dave. It's wonderful how collaborative and supportive he is, and just genuinely such a nice man that is a fan at heart. Like he is the biggest fan of all of this, and Ahsoka was his baby. So yeah, it's just an honor to be a part of it.
Yeah. And you're saying there with Kaz, obviously your character returns in Star Wars Resistance. How is the relationship between you and Christopher Sean in real life? Is it father-son?
Yeah, it's funny. I've met Chris a few times. Like another, I know I keep saying it, but I think that's maybe just the why they have such great success that they just get great people. Because Christopher Sean is another person that he's like so nice and kind that you at first suspect like, oh, is this a put on thing? But he is genuinely that nice of a dude. And he's so talented and amazing, and it's the greatest privilege to like we met before, but now we've done a few cons and stuff together, and just like other events, and to be father and son, obviously it's hilarious. I'm his father, but but it's great. Like and what he did in Resistance is amazing, and the story and the great thing about having a son that isn't born yet is I can't die right away, and I do make it off Hosnian Prime technically. So
Yeah.
Hmm.
there's I have a little bit of a landing pad for not dying.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, he's it's so cool, and to have that, and that's the thing too. I think it's informative of who Hamato Xiono is. He's got a son, and even in Resistance, yes, he's firm and stern and wants him not to be a part of Resistance, obviously, but he's still a dad, and he's not like he's still there, and he's still trying to he gets him into the academy, he tries to get him like a foot ahead. So yeah, it's kind of informative of the fact that maybe there's something nice to Ziana,
Mhm.
a little bit.
Mhm. Well, Siona does make it past the Exegol,
Yes.
so he technically is still alive
Yes.
in the timeline. So,
For a
you know,
Yeah.
Starfighter.
Starfighter, just you down on the set.
Yeah, right.
Siona, what are you doing here?
Exactly. You hear that, Dave?
Let's get a Pee-wee's Playhouse type show on the go where it's Xiono, and then it's just characters just keep popping up through the window.
That'd be awesome. Oh my God, it's Cherry.
Poe Dameron. Moving into like your video game work, how big is that for you? Are you a big gamer yourself?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, yeah, I grew up playing a lot of, I mean, hell, I grew up playing when it was literally just like a block and a block dropping a block on another block, and you're like, yeah, you're like, these graphics are amazing. Super Nintendo blew my mind as a kid. I remember finishing Mario Brothers at a Radio Shack store because we didn't have it. And my brother and I would go there and play it at the store all day. And they started charging us a quarter for like every time we went there. Well, yeah, I finished it at a store. But yeah, no, and now I game all the time still. I'm not as much as I used to. I do go down crazy like rabbit holes, like when I did Elden Ring for a very long, it's like a lot of hours. But yeah, no, doing the video game stuff is kind of newish too in my stuff. And it's been a great honor and so much fun to do, especially the mocap, PCAP stuff. It's like being a kid again, just like pretending, like, oh, this is my sword and this is my horse, and it's great. And then you also get to watch yourself on screen and just do stupid things to your fellow actors.
And is
Well,
it
yeah,
true that you spend most of your time just making like noises? Like a lot of the voice acting for video games is just like, right, we need hit sound one, hit sound two,
yeah, there is
and
that. There's definitely that. There's definitely like medium impact, hard impact, light winds. And then that's sometimes a tedious part of it, but then you get to do the real fun stuff. But yes, that's definitely a part of, part of it all. But it's so cool because on voice stuff, it's endless possibilities, especially you watch something as cool as like Maul right now with Shadow Lord.
Mhm.
It's like so good.
Mhm.
So
It's
good.
so good. And
Have you
Sam.
finished it? Did you?
I have not yet, so I'm not fully
Oh,
caught up. So yes,
no spoilers.
but yes, please. And I won't spoil it for anyone else who hasn't started, but it's so good. I
Mhm.
mean, Sam is talented, talented
Mhm.
guy.
Is there a video game franchise that you're a massive fan of that you would like to be a part of?
I mean, absolutely. What I just, Elden Ring, because it's funny, Alex Garland's doing the Elden Ring movie. I
Yes.
think as we speak, and yeah, I tried my hardest to be on that, but it just wasn't in the cards, I don't think. But yes, I that would have like I was like, please, I will do anything to be in Land in Between. I'll be any target, like do whatever you want to me. Like just have me be like on the side of the road, just like decapitated. It's like, yay! But yeah, no, unfortunately not. But that would be amazing. It's to if they ever did like a Ghost of Yotei or Tsushima movie, that would be pretty dope to do.
Mhm.
Any kind of samurai era thing would be great. Yeah, and Peter Berg's doing Call of Duty. Who knows? Like, I'm of two minds when I think about like everything becoming, going from IP like video games into reality, because I think sometimes it doesn't need to happen. Like, I love Voltron. I'm still like, do we need live action Voltron? But we'll see. Time will tell. I hope it's good.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's in like the more recent Power Rangers, no thanks.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's like I remember for the longest time to talk about Akira, and I'm like,
Mhm.
leave it alone. Like I like the idea of it, but then I'm like scared of it because
Mhm.
it's so perfect in
Yeah.
its original form. Like,
Yeah. The problem with the live action Akira was every time they announced a director, everybody's went, no.
yeah. Well, also I think at one point I was like, I'm not sure if it was real, but they were like, it's Leo and it's Neo New York. I was like, oh no.
Mm,
That's it's obviously he's a great actor, but it's just
yeah,
sometimes.
some
Yeah.
things can't be done. It's like
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson is a very good actress. Was she good in Ghost in the Shell?
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
Because there's stuff like Mass Effect, like
Oh my God. Yeah.
that's starting
Are
to
they,
pick up.
yeah, they're isn't that they're making that, aren't they?
Yeah, Amazon.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I love Mass Effect was such a great game. Like that whole series, talk about like just like spending hours just going to different planets and mining. Just
Yeah.
like I was like, I'm just gonna keep mining this here. It was awesome. So smart. And I've actually been lucky enough to work with a lot of people who do a lot of the voices on there. So
Let's get
yeah.
you on the Mass Effect show, sir. Be like,
Yeah.
Ooh,
I've
yeah.
been in Star Wars. You need a Star
Yeah.
Wars guy.
Yeah, no, Sheer, I think did he do Mass Effect? I can't remember. There's a lot of my friends who do a lot more voice work than I do, or just like legends. But yeah, it's amazing when you meet. That's the thing. Like even for me, like sometimes I'll meet someone new. I'm like, hey, didn't I kill you in a game? Like, yeah, that was me.
It's like we were at Dublin Comic Con recently, and the cast of Red Dead Redemption 2 were there.
Nice. Yeah, my one of my very good friends is Dutch.
Oh, really?
Ben Davis. Yeah,
Well,
he's my very good friend. Well before he was Dutch. So
well,
was
let's
he
see.
there?
Oh, he was there, yeah. And to
Oh,
look at
good.
him, like if you were like pick out the people who were in Red Dead from a
Yeah.
crowd, it's that guy.
Yeah, he's huge.
Yeah.
And he looks fantastic now.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
yeah. He's trimmed up a lot, and no, he's the best.
Mm.
He's very much Dutch.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's good to see stuff like that because obviously, like being from Ireland and stuff, we are sort of self-deprecating and
Yeah,
we're like, why would we have these celebrities in Ireland? That's so
right.
weird. So now, sort of like everything's opened up and it's 2026 and you're going to Comic Cons and like we met Anthony Daniels and it's just sort of like, why are you here?
Yeah. What are you doing in Dublin?
But the thing is, it's funny because I forgot that but I remember when he came back and he was just glowing and just talking so much about how much he loved it in
Mhm.
Ireland, like just how much fun he had and the beauty. And so, I mean, I think that's the thing. It's harder for you to probably see it because it's where you're from. Just like anyone where they're from, you're like, oh, you want to come here? You kind of forget that
Yeah.
it's a beautiful place that you have. So
Yeah,
it's
that's it.
amazing that more people are going. So it's great.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's even coming to Belfast because for the longest time, like there was a couple of years where we got cons from like different organizers, but they only came for maybe a year or 2 years, and then it seemed to
Right,
drop off. But
right.
we've recently, the last sort of 3 years, we've been getting regular Monopoly events in
That's
Belfast,
great.
and but from that we started seeing the likes of fan events spawn. And even Adam and I earlier this year were part of organizing an event in our local town in Ballymena with a couple of guests and stuff. We had Hugh Spite from Return of the Jedi and Louise Guerrero, Toxic Avenger, and Hugh Ross from Nightbreed. And it was kind of nice that it's like, oh, well, we can do this stuff because there is an
Yeah.
interest from people to come and visit and be a part of like fan shows and that sort of a thing. How does it feel for you? You mentioned there before that you've kind of started doing like fan events and cons and that sort of thing. How does it
Yeah.
feel for you to meet these people who love, the movies you're in, the shows you're in, the video games you voice in? How does that kind of feel for you?
It feels incredible to it's really difficult to kind of put into words what it feels like when you meet someone then and because we're just stupid actors and we just do our thing and then when you meet someone that's like they're just so kind of nervous to meet you and just they're like this was means so much it means so much to us as the performers and the actors and the artists because we don't think it's going to have this impact we hope it does but it's just so kind of eye-opening and heartwarming to meet people that are just, it means so much to them. They enjoy what you do and what you brought and the little bit that you contributed to this story that they love. It's incredible. It's the greatest honor. It's also like, it's funny, like I'm very still new to a lot of the con events and the fan events, but sometimes, you're watching them go obviously to the big people. So you're just kind of watching people go to the big tables and you're like, oh, hello. I'm by the bathroom, like, hi. Would you like a napkin? But it's so cool to just get to talk to these fans and to meet them and I think a lot of times it's a lot of people are like shy and it's hard to get them out of the show, but once you do, you realize just how cool it is that they know so much and they have so much insight about stuff that you did. Like you're like, oh my God, I'd never thought of it that way. It's just cool. It's just so great.
And then do you go for a nosy about the cons yourself to start getting new bits for your collection? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I try like it's scary because sometimes I'm like because it's all like priced for like these events, so they're higher. But I'm like, oh my God, especially like po old posters. I'm like, oh, look at that, and it's so hard. I have to like stop myself because then you're just like you just leave in the negative when you leave those cons. But every now and then I'll try to pick up something. But yeah,
You have to grab a souvenir, you have
you have to,
to.
especially if it's somewhere cool.
Is it fun doing the cons with people you'd never thought you'd meet. Like obviously, like being an actor, you never know who you're going to work with, but like con regulars, like sometimes, like I seen a con recently where it was like William Shatner was there, and I was like,
Oh,
imagine just turning up and you're like, oh, Shatner's here.
yeah, no, look, it's that would be insane. And it's also funny, like I was doing a con with, Diana Ansado, who's amazing. She's Night Sister, Morgan Elsbeth, and the loveliest, great, 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 great human being, and so talented. But we were all doing this con, and that's where I met Sam Witwer and all that. And Katie Sackhoff came in, and it's funny because sometimes I confuse in my head, just like I'm sure everyone does. It was like, oh, I know you. It's like, no, I don't. So I was like, hey. I'm like, hey, good to see you. She's like, hi. I was like, oh yeah, we've never met. Ah. But it's like just funny because you're like, yay, it's Katie Sackhoff's here. But yeah, it's so cool. Like there was another con I just did where all the dudes from Grand Theft Auto, they were all there, and I was like, oh my God, that's so cool.
Yeah, because I know Stephen Ogg,
Yes,
um,
yes, Stephen Ogg. They were here, they were all there, and I was like,
like
oh my God, it's all the Grand Theft Auto guys.
he's an incredible man, like as an actor, but also he's a man I
So
would just want to just watch for a day.
yeah,
Like, what do you
no,
do for a day?
he's so good. So it's super nice. They're all super nice. Like that's to me at the end of the day, I just want you not to be a dick. Like
Mhm,
it's just like, and I get it. Everyone has a bad day, but it's nice, especially when we're so lucky to do this stuff. Like
mhm,
we have to remind ourselves like we ain't curing cancer here, guys. We're
mhm.
we're just making, make believe and trying to, have some fun while we're doing it.
Yeah, there's some like the convention side is strange because obviously in the last 10, 15 years, pop culture has become the culture like of everything.
Yeah.
But there's been guys who've been doing cons since the 80s. So you'll
Yeah.
see if you go to a convention over here, like a lot of people who were in Doctor Who back in the day and like you say, just sit at a table, nobody knows who they are. But then it's sort of like now it's sort of they are more recognizable because of the internet. Someone will love
Right.
them because of like they didn't have access to what they were in, which is
Yeah.
really nice, but it's like one of those things where it sort of makes you feel sad in a way. It's like obviously being older and getting recognized is good, but it's like, oh, you had so many years where it was like, is this worth it? But then it was,
Yeah.
which is good.
Absolutely. It's for all the great things about it, there are some. It's a tough pill to swallow sometimes, and I'm still like new and spry with all the stuff, so I'm like, yeah, it's fun. But I can see if you were like doing this for a long time, like since the '80s, it starts becoming a job. This is how you make a living, and there's something that's respectful, and that's absolutely what these are built for, to help you supplement your income and build off of what you help build. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. And I'm glad though that with the advent of, internet and everything, that you have access to everything, you can have new fans that just find you now, a young fan that just happens to watch an old Doctor Who and becomes, all those things that just wasn't possible before. Like, even talking to Ben Davis about Red Dead. I mean, Red Dead was a long time ago, and there's a whole new generation of younger kids who have just played through that now love Red Dead, and that'll keep going. And that's the same thing for movies and television, and it's a great thing. So it could be never ending, and it's great to have a constantly resupply of fans.
It is a shame though, because now you can't gaslight people. Like
Yeah,
I can't go to a convention and be like, yeah, I was in Return of the Jedi.
yeah,
I
exactly. Like, oh, let me see. Damn it.
see that Ewok? That's me.
But then you shaved your beard and we can't
You're
Yeah.
tell
like, oh
anymore.
no. Why is that Ewok eating prawn cocktail crisps?
He's always eating prawn cocktails.
Now, so I'm going to bringing it back to Star Wars. I want to
Yeah.
ask you about your costume. What was it like kind of being one of the comfiest people on set? Because that's the thing, whenever you get to be like a senator or even a Jedi, not see the Jedi Obi. I wear a Star Wars costume for a costume group, and when you've got to
Yeah.
get that Obi on, especially after putting on a load of lockdown weight, that was
Yeah.
cinched. But how did it feel kind of being in that costume? Because it's a really nice costume. It's a lovely costume.
Yeah.
What was it
Yeah,
like kind of going in for the fitting and getting into the character?
it does so much work for you because it's so regal. you're draped in like these beautiful, like thick kind of. It's like almost like drapes, but they were beautiful. Like the costume designers did such an amazing job, and I love that all of the senators had that same feel. This like long flowing robes. It just felt really, regal. And yeah, it's a funny thing. Like it's like anything when you have cool costumes. Like when I did Mulan, just like when you have these like really ornate costumes. You put it on and it kind of does so much for you. You immediately have a sort of posture and you have a feeling as opposed to like being in some blue jeans and a t-shirt. It just changes you and it's amazing. You just kind of immediately fall into it. And also just secretly taking photos of yourself in the mirror, like, yeah, like, it's so cool. And then you see it on screen and you see yourself become a friggin' hologram, like, but yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's so cool, and it can't be done without all these amazing artists behind. It takes a very large village to make all of this happen.
Of course, of course. And if you could be, so obviously you enjoy wearing that, your lovely drapery, your fine costume, but is
Yes.
there any other costume, so Lucasfilm, Disney call you back and they're like, we want you to come back, we want you to come play in Star Wars again, but you're not playing the same character. You can be any other character or alien or whatever you want to do. What would you like to do in Star Wars? Is there anything else that you would like to try? Even just a stormtrooper? Is there anything you would like to try in Star Wars?
1,000,000% I want to be a friggin' Jedi.
Or a
But
Jedi?
Stormtrooper, sure. I mean, like I joke with Dave, I was like, what are the chances of me getting a lightsaber? He was like, I'm like, yes. I mean, but yeah, I mean, it would just be the coolest thing to be able to like just power like whenever you watch any of the other guys on set like doing their lightsaber stuff, you're like, oh, that's so cool. It's just really awesome. Kind of like when you think about superhero movies when you go like, I'm gonna shoot something out of my hands and then it happens on screen. It would just be awesome to do that. But yes, I happily would Daniel Craig it and just be a stormtrooper just to be able to put that on and it's yeah, it would be anything. The cool thing about Star Wars, I mean, I'm not saying it would happen, but it would be cool to just be able to do something else, even if it's a voice thing, something else in just another cool character. It'd be the coolest thing ever just to be able to go in. But yes, having the Force, having a lightsaber would be the best.
So what you're saying is if they call up and say, we need a Mon Cal Jedi, you're putting that fish head on?
Oh yeah, you damn right I will. You're damn right I will.
Have you ever had any interest in doing creature work?
You know what? I would. I don't think I'm good enough to do it. I think there's much better people that would be, because I think that's like a level of physical acting that, I mean, I'd love to have the challenge. I'd love to like watch because you watch some of those really great creature actors and they're doing stuff like Suzuki and all this other stuff that they're really just so fine-tuned in their bodies. But yeah, it'd be a great challenge. I would love to. And I did. Stargirl, obviously it's not creature, but I did do like 6 hours in the chair for that, some of those prosthetics, and it is an interesting thing when you have all that on, and I have these like crazy eyes and this teeth, and usually I couldn't see anything at all because it was the eyes just completely blind you, and you're just like always walking around like okay, but yeah, an amazing thing to transform like that.
And how is it sort of, it's actually interesting because I always remember with the CW superhero shows, so many episodes and like such a quick turnaround. How is it working on a show like Stargirl where the turnaround is so quick compared to something like Star Wars?
Yeah, I mean, it's a grind. It's still amazing. It was tiring, especially I remember, just getting into the end of the season. It was, it's always hard, but it's a lot of night shoots, but it's the greatest, it's still a privilege to do. So it's hard to complain. But yes, there's definitely a different pace. And just kind of also the world of DC compared to the world of Star Wars.
Mhm.
Superheroes are a little different, but yeah, it was so much fun to do Stargirl. I mean, Jeff Johns is a legend, and to be a part of that show and to do Dragon King, it was great.
Are you a comic book guy in general?
Oh yeah, growing up, I didn't have a lot, but I loved going to the comic book store. I love the smell of it. I love the when you bought one, getting it into the sleeve into a little brown paper bag. It was such a satisfying feeling. But yeah, a lot of mine got thrown out somehow. I don't know where they went when my parents moved.
who's your guys? Who's your like if you're going to the comic book shop on the shelf, what's the top four issues you're buying?
Daredevil was always one of my favorites,
Mhm.
and it started kind of because I think I misunderstood his moniker, the man without fear. I actually thought that his superpower was actually not having fear. And I was like, that's so cool. I was like, that's an amazing power. But I also thought, Matt Murdock was amazing. And but yes, so he was definitely one of my favorites. X-Men, absolutely. Wolverine, Rogue, that whole one of the series with the Silver Samurai and Logan was one of my like I just destroyed that comic because I read it back over and over again. And definitely I cannot go away from Batman.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I had a lot of kind of not even like smaller Batman comic books because I didn't have a lot of money and I just get them in random places or people donate them to me and I just like piece together stories. But I loved, yeah, Batman was awesome.
Would you say a Batman movie or a show would be like the not your main goal, but like if it came through the door, you'd be like, oh my God.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, to get to be in Batman would be pretty cool. I mean, is there some Batman fatigue? Sure. There's a lot of Batman. There's
Mhm.
a lot of Batman, but there's still a lot of Batman you can do, and it's still Batman. So it's you can get fatigued, but if anything, James Gunn has showed us that doesn't matter. As long as you have a new good idea, and you do it well, it's still great.
James Gunn comes to you and says, Nelson, I need you to grow a mustache. You're going to be Commissioner Gordon.
Oh my God. I'd be like, this mustache? Yeah,
This
exactly.
mustache.
I'm ready.
Just you mentioned there about Batman fatigue and kind of that superhero fatigue that a lot of people got, especially with Marvel. Do you feel that there's that kind of level of fatigue with Star Wars with all the shows that have come and now, well, I mean, we're getting our first movie in a long time with Mandalorian and Grogu, but do you think that that fatigue is going to potentially impact that film, or do you think there's still enough of a love for Star Wars that it's not quite hit those superhero levels of fatigue yet?
Yeah, it's always going to be difficult to kind of guess. I think the fatigue is real, and you feel it all across these genres. You feel it in Marvel, you feel it in Star Wars, you feel it in all, the things that has been not easy, but it's bankable. You're like, we know that there are huge Star Wars fans, we know there are huge Marvel fans, and they'll show up. But yeah, it's like we're all hopeful, and that Grogu and Mandalorian do great. I definitely am. It's in the universe, and so I'd love for it to do great, just for Dave and for everyone else involved. But yeah, I think the fatigue is real, but I think that even ups the challenge. And if you just still deliver great content, it's people will love it. You're always gonna have someone that's not gonna be happy.
Mm.
That's especially with these things. You know this. As fans, there's always gonna be someone's like, no. No matter what, no matter how good it is, there's gonna be someone with something to say on a board. And that's fine. That's you can't ever get you can't change people's minds on that. But I think overall, I think these are great properties. I think they're in great hands, especially with Dave. As far as that, with James Gunn, I think DC is in great hands. Marvel, we'll see how it all shakes out. But yeah, I'm hopeful for the future of this stuff. And I think things like Andor too show you that you can be, adjacent to these stories and still have it in the universe. And it's just as powerful. You go back and you watch Andor into Rogue One, you're like, oh my God. Like you realize how powerful these things are. And that's the coolest thing to kind of like repurpose and jigsaw all these things together and watch. But yeah, I was just talking that with one of my friends. He was just like, him and his wife are just re-watching everything from, even the animated like Clone Wars and then putting into Andor and Rogue One. It's something I need to do soon.
Yeah.
Well, to prepare for Mandalorian and Grogu, you only have to rewatch the Moped Gang episodes from the Book of Boba Fett because their
Yeah.
side plot in the movie, it's a top secret, don't be telling anybody. It's their side plot in the movie is pinnacle to the plot.
Yeah. Noted.
Yeah. Dave's also listening, making notes, being like, Moped Gang in snow? Question mark.
Danny, don't tease me like that. In terms of, you're an actor, but also you're a director, you've made short films. I've talked about it a lot on this podcast and other podcasts. It feels like with IPs sort of cooling down, there will be a another film revolution, and you'll get a lot of fresh faces and you get a lot of fresh stories. Does that excite you that like we're sort of on the precipice of maybe like a new age of cinema?
Yes, I hope so. I mean, that's the hope and the dream, right? Because right now it is, it's a tough time in the industry and also in the world. It's you just feel it kind of trickle down through everything. And I think with like just speaking of fatigue, there's a lot of IP fatigue, where it's like, okay, well, what about just a real new creative story that someone just came up with? And you're still seeing it. And you're going to see a resurgence in independent film, like real independent film, not $200 million independent film, like
Mhm.
what it used to be. And, stories that just people can make because we have access to things to make films very easily now, and I think there will be, I'm hopeful, especially for new faces. There's a very distressing trend right now of just kind of like, it's always been like the celebrity models, like everyone gets to work. And now I think it feels really concentrated now that it seems like that always.
Mhm.
And I think there will be a correction and a swing to start seeing a lot of new people come in and doing new stories. And I think that will be refreshing and necessary to get us all back on board. And I really hope that a lot of us start going back to theaters because I think people are starting to figure out that formula too, because for a while they were like using the old style of like, oh, summer blockbusters, and that doesn't work anymore.
Mhm.
I think we're all figuring out what will hit. And, unfortunately, this thing's still about money, and the people that control that will use that as the metric. And, hopefully, as a side benefit, we get new and exciting content.
Yeah, because you have people like, Seth Krager, who's doing
Yeah,
stuff like weapons, but now is doing IP stuff with
yeah,
Resident Evil. And we've seen the trailer for Resident Evil, and it's very much not what has come before.
yeah,
And I think that's what you need. You need fresh faces, and like me and Danny always say, like horror is the breeding ground for new faces. There's
yes,
like the films like I know Backrooms is obviously an IP, but
yeah,
like Backrooms, Obsession, a lot of the stuff that's coming out this month, Hokum, the Irish
yeah.
director, it's like a lot of stuff where it's like these guys are pushing the boat, and it's like The Mummy, which came out and wasn't a big hit success, but Lee Cronin, Dublin
Yeah.
guy, like that's a movie that shouldn't exist. That's a movie that is so cruel for a big like it's like people are like, is this Brendan Fraser? And then they go in and see people get
Right, right,
decapitated. So
right.
it's starting. You can see it in the water. It's starting, and as always, it's starting with the horror guys
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
girls.
the funny thing I mean, not funny, but the great thing about horror is that it's always been this property in this genre that for some reason it's like we don't need celebrities, we don't need money, we just need a great idea. And I think there's something really liberating about that. I don't know why we can't apply that to every kind of genre, but horror seems to have a hold on that, and it's great because the entry ticket into horror is like just a good idea,
Mm,
and you can get it distributed, you can get it sold, and that's why I think it's the kind of forefront of this new wave because everyone else is like, oh, well, I have to do a superhero movie or I have to do this kind of a drama as opposed to like horror. It's like just give me a good idea,
mm,
and that's exciting. So it's I think it's going to be great. I think there's never going to be a shortage once we move off of IP and start believing in storytelling and start believing that people want to hear stories that are new, not just like, hey, I like that game or that book or that thing. Let's make that into a new movie. I think that's the change that's happening now. We're like, I want to see something new. It's like, what?
mm.
What is that? And it's your that doesn't change. Our thirst for stuff like that is not going to change.
Bringing it back to what we're all about, that's how Star Wars started. George Lucas
Yeah,
had this idea. He built his own story from mythology and stuff that came before, but came up with an original idea that, for all intents and purposes, was believed to going to be a flop, going to be a
yeah,
failure,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it hasn't. It has spawned something that we're still talking about today and still making shows and movies and everything from. But yeah, sometimes it is just somebody having that idea, and again, it doesn't have to be entirely original because everything that Lucas pulled from to create his world, but just something that is a bit more inspired. Be nice.
yeah. No, I mean, look, I mean, I'm noticing that Sinners poster behind you. That's
Mm.
talk about a new project that was just great. I mean, I've some friends in it too. It's such a great, beautiful project, and I'm so happy that it broke through. And like, oh, it's a vampire movie. It's like, yeah, but it's also a lot more, and that's the great thing, And like you said, nothing is new. We all borrow. Everything is borrowed, George Lucas is using a lot of the Joseph Campbell like hero stories and journeys, which is fine. This is how we make great things. That's why Quentin Tarantino was such a prolific filmmaker because he had ingested everything and introduced us to stuff that he knew but we thought was new. And that's how you do it. And it's an exciting time, I think.
We'll wrap it up there. Nelson, I think it's perfect. We've come full circle. But thank you very much for joining us. Is there anything you would like to plug? Any upcoming projects?
No, right now I can't really the couple things, but stay tuned. Keep on playing the games. The Call of Duty stuff is a lot of new maps are coming out, and yeah, so it's exciting time. But yeah, hopefully I'll be in a con near you. But yeah, I'll keep you guys updated if I ever get over there. I
Please
would
do.
love to.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
Come on over. If you're in Belfast, we'll take you to the Titanic Museum and get you some Tito crisps.
Yes, please.
But thank you everybody for listening. Thank you, Danny, as always, for being a glorious co-host.
Of course.
Then join us next week for more fun and shenanigans in the stars. And as always, we have friends everywhere. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
There's no proof of a greater conspiracy and thus no immediate threat to this republic.
If Thrawn returns, that will change quickly.
If.
I don't know what frightens me more. The possibility of what might happen or your unwillingness to see it.
I'll tell you what I see. I see a general who abuses her authority for personal gain, and I will not stand for it. I motion that General Syndulla be court-martialed for disobeying a direct order.